All right, the Reds, it is the preview show when we are previewing Leicester City v Liverpool in the Premier League, Tuesday the 28th of December at 8 p.m. Or that's how things stand right now. Due to be live on Amazon Prime. And Neil, the way this has sort of landed now, all the cards seem to have fell in Liverpool's favour, really, because we know Jurgen's been saying for a long time that he obviously doesn't agree with games being played on the 26th and the 28th. And while we, many of us bemoan the fact that we didn't get to go to the match on Boxing Day and that little tradition was lost for us because of the situation with Leeds United, from a wider club perspective, this seems to be what Jurgen wanted in the first place. And meanwhile, Leicester did play the 26th and will play the 28th, all being well. They've got an injury crisis. The players that did play obviously aren't going to have much of a break. Our players, even the ones who did play in the League Cup, will get at least 6 days break. So it all seems to have felt quite nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, you hope so. That's the theory, at least. I mean, obviously Jurgen always talks about rhythm, doesn't he? And I think he probably would have rather had the game yesterday and then had this one called off if he could have, if he could have chose out of the two. But still, Leicester have had the runaround yesterday as well, haven't they? They've been up against, other than Liverpool, the best side in the league, in City. Absolutely mad game. Crazy, and they'll have spent a lot of energy, a lot of mental energy as well they'll have put into that game yesterday and still got a drubbing, which is nice to see. And then, as you say, they've got players out, they'll have issues with fitness. I'm sure they'll have picked up a few more knocks yesterday. And whereas hopefully for us, Virgil should be back now. Yep. His isolation period's over. I'm hoping the same with Thiago. Henderson now should be back ready firing. He had an hour, didn't he, midweek? So you'd like to think we've had that little bit of time off. We've had the extra time on the training pitch. You'd think we'd be bang up for this and really ready to tear into them.
Yeah, and the way it sort of fell now with Liverpool missing that game, it suddenly made the league table look a lot different, hasn't it? And sort of the feel of it look a little different. And I've seen some media sort of saying, like off City go then and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, hang on, we've got a game in hand here. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, they're 6 points ahead of us, but they've played one game more. I guess where I woke up this morning and looked at the table, I was like, oh, shit, their goal difference is suddenly better than Liverpool's. How's that happened? So it does, to use the cliche, it does feel a little bit like some kind of gauntlet's being thrown down to Liverpool here. and they do need to go and get a win in this game, don't they, because of what City are doing.
Yeah, and we would have, talking about, goal difference, we'd have hoped to have smashed Leeds, wouldn't we? I think a few of us were eyeing up a Salah hat-trick on Boxing Day. There is a little bit of a gap there. Like, as you say, 6 points, the game in hand. I'm not a massive fan of games in hand.
No, I know what you mean.
Because, in your head as a football fan, you just automatically assume that's 3 points, don't you? We all do it. But the reality is sometimes a little different. Chelsea have obviously dug out an impressive win yesterday as well. So they're hot on their heels. That game coming up against them at Stamford Bridge is really tasty, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But this game against Leicester is going to be tasty because they're smarting from what happened at Anfield. They've come to Anfield with a strong team. They'd had all that rest. He's gone all out. We played really a mixed 11 with some kids at the back, and they could have run away with it. When that Vardy shot hit the post, other people have talked about it. You were fearing the worst, weren't you? Thinking they could knock us for 5 or 6 here, and then we just stormed back. And I wasn't lucky enough to be there. My wife was at a Christmas party, or she was meant to be, and then it got cancelled, which meant I could have been at the match anyway, fuming. But the atmosphere second half just sounded electric.
Oh, it was superb, yeah. It was. Yeah. I mean, look, it was a League Cup game, wasn't it? And I think we said on the post-match point, you were walking through the streets of Kirkdale or whatever, heading up to the ground, like all this wind and rain in your face, and you were like, well, what am I doing here? But then it turned out to be an absolute classic. It seems to have sort of sown some beef as well, because there was obviously the Leicester fans singing about feed the Scousers and stuff like that. We obviously saw Jota score the winning penalty and basically tell the away end to fuck off, which it was all for. And do you think it's sort of, do you think that League Cup games changed the dynamics of this game?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I saw, it's only representative of what the fans are thinking, but I saw a Leicester fan online yesterday on Twitter when they were getting beat, I think 3 or 4 by City. And he was saying, I'd rather lose 10-0 today if we beat Liverpool. And obviously.
All right, the Reds, thanks very much for getting stuck into that little snippet there of Anfield Wrap content. If you want the rest of that show and much more besides, click the link below, subscribe to the Anfield Wrap Premium, and for that you will get reviews, previews, exclusive interviews, post-match content, the full it. Get involved, follow us, follow them from the heart of Liverpool. Up the Reds.